Merry, Merry Christmas. So we're going to be bringing aboard on the phone this morning immigration attorney and we're going to be talking to her about boy meets girl and from Latin America or the Philippines, and they want to marry. Why an immigration attorney may be someone to call before you tie the knot. We're going to tell some stories about some interesting celebrity athletes and VIPs from a career immigration attorney. So should be fun. And what are some of the struggles and frightening aspects of immigration under Trump, and also in living life in the shadow of COVID-19 and the scary Dr. Fauci. Hey, Renata, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Now, this is Renata Castro. I'm saying that correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're with you are the founder of the Castro Legal Group.
Yes.
Right. And one of the great legal firms for immigrants. And we're going to talk to you today about boy meets girl, or beautiful girl, I'm sorry.
Well, Latinas are certainly beautiful girls.
They are, and of course I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that and agreeing with it. But I did marry a wonderful Portuguese girl, so kind of close.
Well, pretty close. Brazil was colonized by Portugal, so
right. Well,
they can get credit by association.
So we will still hold that against them and look to the liberation of the Portuguese people from their colonial masters, right? So you're going to talk to us about some of the interesting cases you've had.
Yes.
So and life under Trump and the evil Dr. Fauci and COVID. So let's give it a go. So let's see. You've helped people out from Latin America, of course, right? And the Philippines, is that right?
Well, our practice is. Well, we represent individuals from all over the world, but we certainly have a significant number of Brazilian clients.
Okay. I'm very familiar with that because I'm from Massachusetts, and we had a wave of Brazilians come in, and they,
yes.
Right?
Where in Massachusetts are you from?
Well, I lived in Fall River for quite a while, but I'm originally from South Boston.
Okay. Yeah, well, there are cities like Framingham, and I'm delivering something, so when we're recording, this doesn't make noise. Certainly, Worcester, Framingham, Somerville, which used to be more Portuguese immigrant towns, have now been taken over by Brazilians.
Which they're pissed about, by the way.
It doesn't surprise me. I was in Portugal last year, and a Portuguese man did not think I was Brazilian and started speaking to me in English and saying how he was revolted that the Brazilians had taken over their country. So
yeah, a lot of the people in Fall River, Massachusetts, and in Framingham, the Portuguese people viewed the Brazilians as criminals.
Well, that's an interesting view.
I lived in Massachusetts most of my life, so I thought I'd share that with you.
Of course. So, I understand we will be speaking about a few things. So I wanted to ask you, because I am in my headset and I don't know if it's echoing. I just want to make sure that you're getting there
is some echo, but I think it adds to the ambiance and the mystery of
okay.
radio. So I enjoy it, but I hope the listening audience does as well.
Okay. Well, we will go with that then.
It's beautiful. Let's just rock and roll. So
yes.
Unless you can cut down the echo, great. I don't know how you
Yes, let's try something else. Because sometimes the headsets are just not the best. Let's try this. So can you hear me better now?
Wow, that's wonderful. Great job.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, so you're a gadget girl, as they say.
Yes, I am. I am the ultimate gadget person.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to. Hey, so what are some of the more interesting celeb cases that you have? Because a lot of our listening audience are very shallow, and they love to hear stories about people bigger than themselves.
Of course. I think that one of the most interesting cases I have represented were UFC fighters, an MMA coach. When we arrived at USCIS, which is the government agency which handles immigration cases and interviews, the security officers wanted autographs. So that was interesting. I also had another UFC fighter where at the interview, the adjustment interview, the officer asked what UFC was. So that was certainly an interesting discussion. I don't think anyone in the world today does not know or is not aware, well, within a certain age bracket, what UFC is. And I think that, being Brazilian...
And by the way, being so really sheltered in what is USC?
Ultimate Fighting or Ultimate Fighter Champion or Ultimate Fighter Championship. It's a league of mixed martial arts which has grown to be one of the largest professional sports leagues in the world.
Okay. So now our listening audience knows, if they didn't know before, just to make sure that we have, because we don't know what people's level of information is, and just wanted to cover that. So some of the immigration officials wanted autographs, and others didn't know who these people were. So interesting.
Certainly, and in one of my UFC fighters, these are guys that have multi-million-dollar contracts, which become part of their immigration case because they're coming to the United States because of their extraordinary abilities, either in the arts or in science or any other area where individuals have excelled. And it was interesting to see someone who is, a multi-million-dollar athlete with endorsements and sports contracts being asked if they expected or intended to become a public charge to the United States government. That was also, those are things that these athletes and, more high-end clients they don't expect to be asked. And it can be a slight turnoff for these individuals who ultimately not only bring their talents to the United States, but their taxable income as well. So it's a win-win for the country.
But is that really how it works out? Do we actually get financial benefits from this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because the United States tax code is one which is one of the most comprehensive tax codes in the world for worldwide wealth. Therefore, these athletes, there's actually a very famous case of a Brazilian race driver who almost went to jail, and he came very close to losing his green card because allegedly he received poor legal advice, Elio Castro Neves, and he did not report his worldwide income, only his U.S.-based income, and he almost got in serious trouble. Most recently, Shakira had the same situation where she had to cough up, millions of dollars in back U.S. taxes, allegedly because she received bad tax advice. So for the United States to have these, more prominent celebrities certainly translates into a tax benefit for the country.
So, and they're coming to the United States because the United States is a better tax environment than their home country. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. A lot of times they are coming to the United States because they want to raise their profiles in their home countries. So Gisele Bündchen has more lucrative endorsement deals in Brazil than she has in the United States.
But how much of her money does she get to keep there?
In Brazil?
Right.
It depends on the structure. I am not a lawyer in Brazil, but what I have discussed with my clients is that they can actually put in place more favorable tax structures abroad, and it's most likely easier to cheat on taxes abroad in a lot of countries than it is in the United States. It's not as easy to set up, international shell companies. The United States has been more and more diligent with the digitalization and the interagency communication in tracing money abroad. So I don't think what I see is that a lot of clients at times will decide not to come to the United States because of taxation. So the United States is not the best tax structure for the super rich. However,
it sounds like it's not the great tax structure for people who want to cheat because they'll get caught. That's what that sounded like.
Well, I don't think that that's what I said. What I said
No, it's
was,
not what you said. It's how you said it. What's implied? You said it was easier to cheat abroad than it is here, so people are staying there.
I said that's what I speculated to be. I don't think that the United States, in my experience, is the best tax structure for the super rich. There are countries which are more favorable, but at the end of the day, even if these individuals, athletes, business people are coming to the United States and being in a less favorable tax situation, they end up earning more in other investments, endorsements, and the
so
overall
this is a
raising
better
of their
place to
profile.
be for them financially.
Certainly.
Right.
Certainly.
And that's why people come to the United States.
Of course.
Right, because it's a better place. So now I'm wondering about the immigration under Trump and how you see that working out. Now they're talking about the Biden administration coming in, and but how has it worked out for immigrants under Trump?
It has not been easy for any immigrant, including those seeking to come to the United States, or particularly those seeking to come to the United States legally. Costs were raised. There was great mayhem in this organization within the immigration agencies, not following precedent and not following good standing law. I would say that
when you say good standing law, is that because Trump had a different interpretation on the laws of the past in immigration, where this country lets in legally more than any other country in the world?
The United States immigration code is one which uses exercise of discretion.
Therefore, are you kidding me?
No, I am not. That is
my
codified.
God. So we actually have codified discretion in our laws. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So, I disagree. I believe that the codification of discretion allows officers, if properly trained, to look at all the equities presented and make a favorable decision for the country and not necessarily for the individual. Therefore, during the Trump administration, what we as immigration attorneys experienced was a leaning towards negative discretion 99% of the time, even in situations where in the past favorable discretion would be exercised. Individuals being penalized for not having legal representation, which is not guaranteed under there's no guaranteed access to counsel or free counsel, I should say.
Let me ask you this. Why should the American taxpayer pick up the nickel for someone who wants to come here for their legal costs? Why should we do that? What's the upside for us?
I don't think they should. All I'm saying is that there are language barriers and there are other obstacles that may warrant a favorable exercise of discretion when that case ultimately arrives at the USCIS officer's desk.
Right, and why is it incumbent upon us, the United States taxpayer, to resolve those immigration issues on the behalf of the immigrant?
It isn't.
Okay.
That's why discretion is codified, and that's why the USCIS officer or the immigration judges, when their hands are not tied, should look at equities when making decisions. It doesn't mean that they have a wide range of authority to just make whatever arbitrary and capricious decision they wish. All it means is that we need to focus on making the best use of the government resources so that the American taxpayer is not paying for a useless witch hunt. The real problem in the United States, what foments unlawful immigration, are American or American-based or U.S.-based employers who drive down wages by hiring undocumented aliens.
Illegal immigrants, right?
Well, the proper term is undocumented.
No, it's not. It's actually illegal.
Well, I would like you to show me in the code where individuals
I'm just
are.
telling you, for someone on the street who watches people cross the border
Well,
illegally, that's illegal.
crossing the border is not necessarily illegal.
Yes,
You
it
may cross
is.
the
It
border
is
with
illegal.
inspection. Well, as a lawyer, as someone who went to law
Right.
school,
As a
crossing
lawyer,
the
and
border,
as a lawyer, you can
crossing the
try
border,
to say that,
no,
but it's
I am.
illegal.
No, I'm not trying. That's the
Right.
law.
It's the law, and maybe it's.
If
No,
an
it's
individual
illegal.
appreciates,
You violate a
don't.
country's sovereignty. It's illegal.
But you don't necessarily cross the border by violating a country's sovereignty. You may cross a border where you are being inspected, and that's not illegal. And that is the conversation that we need to have in America today.
No, actually, the conversation we need to have in America is how do we secure the border so people are not able to violate our national security? That's the conversation that we need to have.
The United States is the #1 consumer of illegal drugs, and that is why.
So now we're changing the subject.
No, but I would appreciate if you would let me finish my thought. One of the most lucrative trafficking into the United States in and out of the United States are that of drugs and guns. The bringing of individuals, that's just pocket change. The United States.
So now we're changing the subject. So now let's stick to immigration and people violating our border illegally. And you know what? If we had a secure border, no one would be coming in with drugs and guns.
And that's the point that I was trying to make before you tried to redirect the subject.
No, you redirected it to something else. I'd like to talk. Let's because we are running out of time, but I do want to give you extra time if you have your schedule allows. The omnibus immigration bill.
Yes.
Okay. How is that?
Let's talk about that.
Okay, the Biden bill.
Even though I am a Biden supporter and voted for him, I believe that Biden is being not as cautious as I would like him to be when he proposes and when he discusses the immigration bill, because I don't think the country is in a position politically to pass a comprehensive immigration reform bill in the first 100 days. I believe there will be some kind of favorable legislation when it comes to dreamers. I also believe that there may be some cuts to family-based chain migration, such as the one that allowed Melania Trump to bring her parents here. I believe that the United States needs to rapidly change its immigration laws to mirror more those of Canada, where you are favoring highly qualified individuals, but also leaving reasonable shares for those who have family members, but keeping in mind that the goal of immigration is, of course, one of humanitarian purposes, but to ultimately drive the United States economy and its innovation.
Okay. So why is approving the DACA bills good for the United States?
These kids, well, they're mostly
they're
adults
not kids.
now. They're mostly adults now,
and they weren't kids when they crossed the border.
Well, the law recognizes children under 16 as
the law
children.
Recognizes children up to the age of 24 as being children and 26 as being children.
Which state? The state of Florida certainly recognizes them as children until 18. Most states recognizes them as children until the age of 21. So as the law recognizes these kids were brought here, some of them out of without their authorization or without the intent to come, because they were under the supervision and guidance of their parents.
Wrong. They weren't. In fact, when you watch some of these kids cross the border hanging off the sides of trains and marching en masse in columns into the United States, unaccompanied minors, they weren't under the direction of their parents other than handed whatever money they were handed and sent packing.
About 70% of DACA kids have come to the United States with a tourist visa and overstayed. Therefore, at 16 and under.
Again, I would say that's what do they say in the courtroom? Facts, not in evidence.
Well, I disagree.
Well, you can disagree all you want. I mean, that's why you're on the air. And I don't see how this omnibus actually helps the Biden bill I see it as a threat to this country again. He's going to overturn the laws that had people waiting in other countries to be processed into this country.
The thing is that this imaginary line that Trump has discussed, that people need to go back and wait in line.
Is the imaginary line the U.S. border?
No. Those are called embassies and consulates. The imaginary line about coming into the United States just does not exist because the United States has an outdated and obsolete immigration code.
To you. According to a lot of other people who did not support this imbecile person, also known as Joseph Biden, right?
Well, imbecility can take a lot of shapes, including one.
Did you watch his interviews with
I did.
Clarence Thomas?
In my opinion, Joseph Biden represents what America's all about.
Oh my God! Oh my God! You're talking about a guy who plagiarized his entire life, who got kicked out of his first attempt to run for office because he got caught plagiarizing and lying about it.
Well,
you're talking about the guy who's at the bottom of his class in the law school.
That would be something out of Trump's playbook, cheating and plagiarizing. So we should.
So that's the guy, but this is your guy. Your guy is Biden, who is a moron,
yes.
Right? And so he wants to do away with the laws that have an agreement between 4 countries, so that they are respecting the law, that they will have other people waiting in the country that's next to theirs to be processed into our country. Right.
There's about 1 million DACA kids already in the United States paying more taxes.
Why can't we deport them? You're full of crap.
Trump will never pay in taxes what undocumented aliens, including those whom he has conned out of wages, because he has hired, and there is proof that Trump has hired undocumented aliens, and the people who support him continue to violate the laws of this country, be it tax laws, be it employment laws. It is about time we have a true and honest conversation.
Right. I think it's clear to the American people that what you do for a living is not in the best interest of this country. If you are going to support the Biden bills, the omnibus bills, that is going to further wreak havoc on low-income people, working-class people in this country. And the immigration laws in this country
What I do is bring forth the spirit of America. I represent laws. I represent what is fair and just in this country.
Yeah, if you represent, and you want to do, and Biden wants to do it with banning immigration from Muslims from countries that do not vet with us, right? So you're okay with importing people, bringing people to this country from countries that do not have an open system where we can see if these people that are coming here want to kill us. Like the San Bernardino killers. Like the San Bernardino killers.
The FBI recognizes white supremacy as the fastest.
So you are saying it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that we bring people.
I did not say that.
You just so you brought up white supremacy, which has nothing to do with immigration.
We're talking about real and not imaginary threats.
Yes, I think the people who were murdered in San Bernardino, right? Their families that had their loved ones killed, who only embraced those 2 murdering bastards that came into our country. I think they would disagree with you, miss.
Well, that's the essence of America. We can all disagree with civility. All victims deserve justice, irrespective.
Yeah, and you know the justice that we have goes both ways. And bringing up white supremacy, which is a total red herring, and you should be ashamed of yourself for bringing it up, when we're talking about immigration policies that have killed Americans. You talk about Kate Steinle. Her murderer was deported from this country, 6 times? He violated the national sovereignty 6 times. It resulted in the death of a young woman in the arms of her father when they were just out for freaking lunch.
let's talk about red herrings. There are several studies, including by those of published by organizations supporting Donald Trump and his lunacy, which show
the
that
lunacy that wants to stop sanctuary cities.
Studies which show that immigrants commit crimes at farther less.
That is crap, and you know it. You should be ashamed of yourself for saying that. MS-13 actually decapitates people, cuts their heads off in this country.
Well, a lot of MS-13 members in the United States are U.S. born.
Wow. Wow. You know, I'm really glad that you came on the air. I hope we can do this again. We're way past our time, and I really would love you to come back on the air. Clearly, this is what the American people, the center part of the Tampa listening audience, needs to hear. Central Florida is listening, and I hope they got a really good earful of what is to come if we allow Joe Biden and people like you to have any influence on our immigration policies. I really do. I can't thank you enough for calling, but we've got to go and get back to the program. And I really do appreciate you calling. And I know that I'm clearly in disagreement with you, and my heart goes out for the family of Kate Steinle and the victims of San Bernardino, and that is a problem. That's a problem for us, and I want to wish you all the best of luck of bringing in very high-earning people into this country. I do.
Certainly, I appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you and your family a happy holidays.
God bless you.